In this video, we are going to explore the new Assistance v2 API. We're going to focus on how we can create the assistant directly from Web UI and then call it and use it from Python. We will explore how to use the vector stores with file search plus the code interpreter. We will learn about the new mixed prompt tokens, which allows us to manage the message size. So previously this was not possible, but now we can with mixed prompt tokens, mixed completion tokens. We can also offer the truncation strategy and also dynamically manage tool choices. I will also include this delete assistance and vector stores and files. It's just very convenient, and I'll explain why. I'll also include a class which handles the file management for the assistance API. So this should come in handy since you are being charged by the amount of files that we store. The code files for this will be available at my Patreon. The link will be in the description. So let's begin. As you can see, currently my storage and my assistant is empty. And when you're at storage, you can also look at your vector stores. Currently, with the new Assistance v2 API, the files you upload are chunked and vectorized all automatically. So this is all handled for you along with the message history. So you don't have to worry about that. All we have to do is really go to Assistants at platform.openai and click on to create a new assistant. Now, this is our assistant. You can give it a name. It's going to say personal assistant. You can give it instruction, but I'm going to leave it as it was, which is you're a helpful assistant. We are using the latest GPT-4 Turbo. I'm going to turn on file search and code interpreter. Actually, let's leave these off for now and just see how we can just use it as a regular chatbot. So all we have to do is then just copy the assistant's ID and come to our code and replace the assistant ID. We are going to retrieve it. So we need a thread too. We can retrieve a thread, okay? Or we can create a new one. Actually, we are going to go ahead and create a new one. So I'm just going to run it. We will also be exploring the streaming API. Forgot to mention. So we're going to look at streaming responses. So I can just say hi, and then the assistant responds in a streaming way. Can you tell me a Python joke? As you can see, we are getting streaming responses. Now, if we come back to the web UI and go under threads, the one here is our thread, which is created at this time. And here are all the messages that is available. Okay, we can also see the thread ID. For example, if we wanted to continue at another time from this thread, for example, if we were to stop this script, but we wanted to run it, I can actually input it here, comment this out, and comment this in, and I will be able to continue my conversation from where it was left off. I can ask it, what was the joke you told me? And it's going to answer. Why do Python programs prefer dark mode? Because light attracts bugs. And if we go back to our thread, refresh it, as a matter of fact, it was this joke that it told. So this way we can actually swap between threads. I will, of course, have a more detailed video on how we can do all of this from Python itself. I will actually make a separate video on that. So now that we can see that we can use this just as a regular chatbot, we can also see the tokens being used. So far, we have input 138 tokens in, and we got 60 tokens out. Yeah, we have the max prompt tokens set to 20,000. So once we hit this limit, it runs particularly. So nothing will happen to the thread. Thread maintains all the messages, but the run itself will manage it and keep it under this max prompt tokens. You can also specify a mixed completion token. And the truncation strategy is last messages, meaning when we go over the mixed prompt tokens, then and many last messages are inserted into the context window. You can also set this to auto and let the model itself manage, or OpenAI in the background manage how the messages are going to be truncated to accommodate this mixed prompt token. Now that we've explored just the chat functionality, let's go ahead and turn on file search and code interpreter. So when we turn on code interpreter and file search, of course, we don't have any files currently. So we can actually go to our storage and upload a file here and create a vector store out of that. We can create a vector store here too, but we can also manage all of this from our assistant. For example, in file search, I'm going to click on files and I'm going to upload a file, which is the OpenAI Assistant's file search docs. This I got from OpenAI's documentation. I just copied file search documentation page. I'm going to attach it. It's this one right here. I just copied this file search documentation, put it into a file. So let's go. Now, when we uploaded this file, as you can see, we don't have it just a file, but it says Vectorstore for Personal Assistant, and this is the ID for the Vectorstore. If I click on it, I see that the Vectorstore with this ID, which is an expiration policy of never, I will actually talk about this in my future videos, have this file in it. So we can actually add more files to this Vectorstore. We can also detach this from the assistant and we can delete it. But now this Vectorstore is in our storage. This is the file we uploaded, right? The text file. And in our Vectorstore, if we refresh it, we see that this Vectorstore was created and we can see the information on it. We can actually set an expiration policy. We can set it to 7 days since last active and update it. And now if we don't use this, when it expires, then it will be automatically deleted. So that's actually pretty convenient. You can also delete it here and you can add files to it. But we're going to keep it simple and only have this. Okay, so let's go back to our assistant and review the situation. So we don't have any custom functions. I'll talk about this in another video, but we have file search turned on and code interpreter. This is our assistant ID, which we already have. And we also have our thread, right? We are using this thread. So we can actually go back if we want it. We can actually run the script, comment this out, create a new thread, and then actually, retrieve a thread, and we can actually create a new thread, but we are going to use the old thread. But I'm going to retrieve the assistant again, along with the thread. So I've actually added some cool features here. So now the tool usage is actually set to automatic. For example, I can say hi. The features that I added was that I can actually force it or require it to use a tool for any given parent. But we'll get there one step at a time. So as you can see, the assistant responded with a regular response, but I can ask, I'm going to ask it to write a math function and test it. Let's see what happens. So the assistant is writing a regular math, meaning it's responding with the regular math function. And it's actually now saying, let's implement and run these tests, and it's calling code interpreter. It actually wrote this file and sent it to code interpreter, and code interpreter outputted this result, and this result was automatically added to the message history. This is a convenient part of the systems. And then we actually got the regular response. So all of this stuff happened in the background, and now we saw that actually we could just chat with it and ask it different questions, and it will decide itself whether to use code interpreter, file search, or just regular chat responses. But I can actually type in use tool. And when I say use tool, this is a command I implemented right here. Then we can actually select the tool to be required for this chat turn only. For example, I can again select the code interpreter and I can just say hi. And since it is now required to use the code interpreter, it actually called the code interpreter with a string. And of course, then it got an error. I can again say use tool, and then I can select file search. And then I can ask, how can I build an assistant? Now it needs to file search, and since it only has one file, then it actually perform file search, and then it's going to. Okay, actually, at this point, we got a response which we weren't looking for. It's not actually talking about the assistance API. So this might be a bug that I actually noticed. I wrote it in OpenAI's developer forum because we are limiting the max prompt tokens, and we are already actually reaching so many tokens. Let's see how many tokens. We are already at 9,000, and when we retrieve, OpenAI says that it can retrieve up to 20 chunks, each chunk being 800. So the 20,000 mixed prompt tokens might not be enough, and it might just drop that entire message and let the model to hallucinate, I believe. So this is an issue that just happens like this. One way I can show you that the best way done is not to set mixed prompt tokens, I believe, but I think OpenAI should fix this sometime soon. When I run it again, well, actually, I need to run, instead of retrieving the thread, if we were to create a new thread and run this again, so then we create a fresh new thread, which doesn't have many tokens, I can actually now say use tool. We are still retrieving the same assistant, so nothing has changed as far as the assistant is concerned. Our vector store is the same, again, with the same file. So now I'm going to ask the same question again. How can I build an assistant? Oh, first I need to select the tool. Actually, made a mistake. I apologize. I'm going to say use tool, and I'm going to select file search. And then I'm going to ask, how can I build an assistant? Now it should actually perform file search and respond properly. As you can see, it's important in OpenAI, and it's using client.beta assistance.create. So this works, but this mixed prompt token is an issue. So via multi-turn conversations. So this is going to maybe leaving this off is the best idea. But currently, I mean, obviously you don't want it to hallucinate. But I can ask it, how can I do streaming responses, which we're going to talk about. Yeah, and it's properly referring to the event handler, which we're going to talk about the assistant event handler. So it's giving us correct answers. So it works actually, and this works really well, except this mixed prompt token is a bit of an issue. And if you don't limit this, then obviously you're going to, let's go back to our thread and see how many tokens we're using. If we refresh this, now we are up to like 16,000 tokens. So it's going to really eat through a lot of tokens. And my guess is that now if I ask another question, let me ask what are some of the parameters I can use for Assistance API. Again, it's performing file search. Okay, it's actually currently answering properly. But if we go back here and refresh again, see how many tokens we're using, right, we see that we are up to 25,000 tokens. So the threads tokens are going to increase. Like I said, the run tokens are what is being managed with the mixed prompt token. So all of this can get kind of complex and complicated, but that's why I'm taking it slow. I hope you're enjoying this more slower pace. Do let me know in the comments. Like I said, the code files will be available at Patreon. So other than the small quirk with mixed prompt tokens, the Assistance API is really maturing and it really makes your life quite easy, especially since now you can create assistants right here. You can also test your assistants by clicking on Playground and taking it here. Okay, so we can actually talk to it by saying hi, and it is actually creating a new thread. And if we go to our threads, we'll be able to see that new thread just right here. So we just created a new thread. Now I'm going to go back to Playground again, and this is going to create a new thread. There's no way to delete threads as far as I know, but we have some options here. You can see the in and out tokens. You can actually clear the thread, and you have some options such as file search and coding. So you can actually assign certain files to the assistant itself, as we've done. So assistant has a vector store, but we can actually attach files to separate threads or even separate messages, as you can see right here. We can attach a file to this particular message. And all of this stuff, the vector building, the vector building of Vectorstore, and OpenAI performs both keyword search and semantic search. All of that stuff happens for you in the background. For file storage, you get 1 gigabyte free, and after that, it's 10 cents per day per extra gigabyte. And you can also handle every one of these things through code. That is what we're going to talk about in the next video. But if I were to say a message, for example, how are you? It's just to activate these. I can actually add a message right here without sending it. And let me just say, how are you again? I can actually run this. So assistants work with creating runs, but I can also add additional instructions to this run. We can also do that from the code. And we are, as a matter of fact, doing it. So when we created the assistant and we are retrieving it here, we had created the original instructions, right? As you're a helpful assistant. But when we are creating the thread run, we can actually give instructions for that particular run. And you can do it in the web UI as well. You can set the temperature and you can require a tool, and you can also trigger JSON mode. So we are not doing JSON mode here in this example, but we are doing the tool choices. We use tool command that we can enter. Otherwise, it's set to auto. So this is about how it works. So let's actually take a look at this code real quick. Before reviewing the code, if you are enjoying my content, do check out my website, echohive.live. I have over 280 plus interesting projects. If you're looking for some inspiration or looking for some code files you can quickly manipulate to your own use case, then definitely check out all my projects, see which ones interest you. And if you wanted to get the code downloads conveniently, as a patron, you'll be able to download any one of the code files, modify it. For example, if you're looking for experimenting with social networks, you can watch the video and click on here and download the files and just experiment with it. I also have some tiers on my Patreon for one-on-one talks and help. Do check out those as well. Really important part of this code is that we are actually retrieving the assistant and we have capability to retrieve the thread. We can also create a new thread. But currently with this code, we cannot create a new assistant. So for that, we are relying on the web UI where you can actually go to assistants and create a new assistant like we've done before. You can give it a name, instructions, choose your model, turn on your tools, or add function definitions if you wanted to do that. And you can also add your files, both to file search and code interpreter. I'm not sure exactly what difference the adding files to code interpreter does, but I'll be experimenting more and more with the assistance API, and I'll try to clarify that. So coming back to the code, we are importing this override from typing extensions. I'm not sure what it does, but we are using it in the event handler, which we are going to inherit from the assistance event handler, which is a class that OpenAI provides. We are using term color for colorful printing to terminal. We are setting our API key either from environment variables or from here. And then we are pretty much retrieving the assistant that you have created. And then we are retrieving a thread if you wanted to do that, or creating a new one. Now this event handler class is actually inherits from the assistant event handler, and it has the override decorators. So what this does is on text created. So if as soon as the API has returned some text, this allows it to print assistant, and we are just printing the assistant so that future messages we will know that it's coming from the assistant. And on text delta, since the streaming API uses delta, then when delta is arriving, it actually prints the delta.value. This is how we are able to print the regular content responses, okay, not the function tool calls. So if a tool call created happens, event happens with the override, then we are actually printing the assistant and the tool called that type. This is how we were able to see this assistant using file search or assistant using code interpreter, if you remember right up here somewhere. Anyway, so that's what is being printed. And on tool call delta, then both the regular content responses and the tool call responses have a delta. And we check if the delta type is code interpreter. We print the delta.codeinterpreter.input. The reason it's called input is because whatever is returned as the code interpreter is actually an input to the code interpreter, since the code interpreter is going to run that code. And when the output and the delta contains the code interpreters that outputs, then we print the output, and then we print actually the output.logs, as you saw in red. Okay, and on message done, when the entire message was completed, then we get the entire message content, get the entire annotations. This is necessary for file retrieval. And if any annotations or citations were returned, we process them and we print them in the end. So this doesn't actually happen all the time, but when it happens, you'll be able to see it under the response. Oh, actually, it does happen, as you can see right here. This is the citation. It says that this response actually referred to the OpenAI assistance file research.docs.txt. Maybe I'll print a new line so that next time this will be under it. We can see it easier. So that's how it works. So that this is just a class that is being defined. We're going to actually pass it into a thread like this. Actually, threads that runs that stream actually has an event handler parameter, and that's where we pass that event handler that we just looked at. Okay, so next we have another function, which is going to actually get whatever the user has said and create a message in the thread that which we are using with the role user and content. You can actually add files and stuff right at this moment, but we are not doing that. Just as I mentioned, when we are in the playground, remember we said we can add files directly to the messages. You can actually do that here too. So there's quite a lot of flexibility. And then right at this point, we enter the while loop. We say the tool is going to be none to begin with, and then we take in user input. If the user says exit, then we exit the loop. But if the user input is use tool, as we have done earlier, then we actually retrieve the assistance tool resources. Since we have turned the assistance tools on, this is not going to be none. So therefore, we are going to print available tools, and we're going to print assistant.tool resources code interpreter. If it's not none, then we print code interpreter. That means code interpreter is turned on and enabled. And if the assistant.tool resources.file search is not none, then we print file search. This is all from the assistant object, which we have retrieved from client.beta.assistance.retrieve. Okay, so once this is printed, we just allow user to choose. If the choice is this, then we set the tool to either code interpreter or file search or none, because you can skip this step, I suppose. And then we print that in this particular round, okay, we are requiring that tool. So this only goes for that particular run. We actually don't need the sleep here. I'll remove that. And then we add the message. We call that add message function to add the message to the thread. And with client.beta.threads.runs.stream, so because we are doing it streaming responses, it's also handled automatically. And when we call that, we're going to say stream until done. But we are passing quite a lot of parameters. Thread ID, assistant ID. This is the instruction for this particular run, separate from the instruction you have given to the assistant in assistant creation. Event handler is this event handler class we have defined, which allows the printing of the streaming response to terminal. Mix prompt tokens allows you to limit mix tokens that are used. Mix completion tokens, 500, truncation strategy type last messages. So mix completion tokens is like mix tokens. Truncation strategy is how will the API going to manage the messages within the thread based on the limitation imposed by the mix prompt tokens. And here we are saying last messages, but you can also set this to auto, okay, like this. And you do have to pass in an object, such as of the type last messages or auto. And tool choices automatically auto if tool is none, because we define the tool as none. But if the user had chosen a particular tool, then we say that the tool choice is of type of that tool. Again, this has to be an object. Yeah, so this is how we pass it. This is what enables us to choose a tool for that particular run. Otherwise, it's set to auto. So all in all, I'm really liking the Assistance API. Yeah, you should give it a try. The code files will be available at Patreon along with 200 plus of my other projects. And yeah, thank you for watching. This was the end of our video, but I'd like to talk quickly about my Octostreamer version 3 project. Octostreamer version 3 is a PyQt powered PyInstaller packaged Python project that I came up with. It uses your OpenAI API key to create course websites such as this one in real time. This is also deployed at Railway. So you have quite a lot of choices, such as 6 different voice choices and over 50 languages that you can choose from. You can choose light or dark theme. When you go here to generate courses, you just enter a course that you would like to generate. For example, we just did permaculture basics, and I can pick how many chapters I'd like to generate, and I'm just going to go ahead and generate it real quick. This shouldn't take too long. Our curriculum was created successfully. I can go into view course outline and search for that permaculture. And as I can see, ethics and principles, design methods and tools, and practical applications. I can then actually select this course outline and continue to generate the course created in light mode, and then the website will launch automatically and will be created for you in real time. And you can record it as I'm doing right now, or actually live stream it. It's really up to you. And once it begins, we'll be able to
Ethics
pause
of
or
care
stop
for the
streaming.
earth. Permaculture revolves around 3 core ethics, one of which is the care for the earth. This ethic
I'm going to go ahead and pause it. If I were to let this run, then this entire course will be generated live and I can listen to it live. I'm going to go ahead and if I were to let this course be generated, then it'll be under my view and launch generated courses. For example, I just created a course called Financial Basics for. Let's go ahead and launch. It's like this. I can actually switch to light mode as well, I believe. I'm sorry, dark mode. And then I can revisit this course. Both I can zoom in, both is in text and
The importance of emergency funds.
yeah, it has 3 chapters, which I can easily use. The benefit of this and what you'll get out of it is that instead of chatting with in a disorganized manner, this allows you to create structured courses that you can run and listen to before you go to sleep, or just fill your time. When you have just 5 minutes or 10 minutes worth, you can visit these courses back whenever, anytime you like. So AutoStreamer, you can download a free demo for from autostreamer.live. I'll put the link in the description. Mac version is coming soon. You can, if you click on the download free demo, it will take you to my Google Drive download. And these are the files you'll be downloading. AutoStreamerDemo.exe is the same thing as this, except with limited features. And if you wanted to download the full version, then click on this. Will take you to my Patreon shop, where it's currently only for $200 instead of $300. You can read all about it in the website. You do need an OpenAI API key for this to work. And sometimes this is a PyInstaller packaged PyQt Python application, so your McAfee or Malwarebytes may flag it as not good. But as a matter of fact, all you have to do is just make an exception for the program. And if you have any questions, feel free to join our Discord or ask me the question that you have in Discord. Well, thank you for watching, and do let me know what you think of this project. I was really proud of this one. And like I said, the code files will be available at Patreon. And I also have special tiers for one-on-one meetings with me, if that's something you're interested in. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.